Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What does sensorality stabilize? I'm smiling because it's going to be about 30 seconds until the dog bark goes off. Or we have another fun one. We have a deer deterrent in my parents' neighbor's backyard. Dude just has this deer thing blasting all day. And so if you even have a window open, right, this residential neighborhood, the houses are kind of close. The house is right over there. But you can hear it, like, again, even with like a window open, I can hear it up here in this room. I'm on the second story. And so again, I continue to not have constitutional rights or a place to work. And so I'm just over here like, something's gonna happen right when I start doing stuff. I've already wasted about a minute talking about it. So we continue on with our derivation. Circling clings, right? A natural definition. Sensorality circles, circling surrounds, circling is cling. Circling clings. That is a natural definition. Sensorality clings. To grip is to cling. All right, we've had another slang emergence of things that grip. It wiggles when she walks. She pops that blank for a real blank. It grips, it clings. Makes sense. Sound is the base of definition, right? All of our words are based on sounds, and we're demonstrating that iteration in real time. Science. What is concentration to tension? Right, if you're trying to concentrate on something, are you tense? I would say yes, right? Proportional. Again, highlighting the logical relationship between the two. I've demonstrated this analytical process enough. That's the point, is to acknowledge this relationship and then just move on with the syllability. Concentricality concentrates. Again, back to you're tapping, you have a coffee mug, you tap the side of it, and you'll see a circle like centralize. How did that, part over here that you didn't hit know to go to the center? Right, you hit it, and it's just like the information, the force, is distributed through the thing that you hit, the coffee cup, and it, boom, centralizes. And so, covered where concentric circles come from, which is another big mathematical phenomenon that has not been acknowledged at all. And so concentricality concentrates. Sensorality concentrates. What is generosity to acceleration? If you're a startup business, and someone's being generous with their venture capital, and you can be an accelerator, right? People use venture capital funds as they call them accelerators. We're just building up to our definition. There's no point to try to explain anything. If I have a little fun joke or something, I sneak it in there, but language is literal. Sensorality is spontaneity. And so now here's a fun, we're getting to, again, these things that I put in red are things that are like acknowledged in theory. And the word theory doesn't really make any sense, but it's still a buzzword I have to say to mean like incomplete derivation at the historical species level. But sensorality is not a word, right? It's a chunk of syllability that we're showing has already integrated into diction that you use. We're just showing that progression. And then by doing so, we're generating a natural definition. Sensorality is, what is a sensor? What is censorship? What is sense? The C versus the S. We already know the quality of the specific solution. But sensorality is not a word, and spontaneity doesn't exist. So this will be red on your screen, but we're pairing up sensorality, the syllability, to things that don't exist. And we just have these linguistical constructions. Again, dark energy, dark matter, time travel, more in like this phenomenon of like society talking about physics. But spontaneous combustion doesn't exist, right? Movement takes time. All physical processes take time. And so when people say spontaneous combustion is like, again, the logical packaging where spontaneity gets presented, but nothing happens instantaneously. It's immediately physically not true. And so, it doesn't matter that you call time, it just matters that physical processes they progress. To evolve, it takes some sort of what we call time, and we can't reduce that association to sound to meaning. And so, but spontaneity does not exist, sensorality does not exist, sensorality is spontaneity. A portion is a section. What is generosity to viscosity? Right? Viscosity, anytime one says gravity, literally say to yourself viscosity, resistance to flow, and it will conceptually make sense. And so we're at the point where you can have direct logical substitution, where you can just hear somebody say this word, you think this word, and you've watched Brad's video illegally, and it will make more sense to you. Because these words are naturally defined. But selfishness is disorderly, right? The opposite of generosity being selfishness. Selfishness is disorderly. Entropy is selfish. Entropy disperses. Dispersion is disorder. Energy dispenses. So now we've made this fundamental energy versus entropy. We've proven those are inverses. Disperse, dispense, those are inverses. And we're progressing the linguistics because we're going to show, we're finding the natural opposite of censor, however that's naturally defined, and then we're reducing the definition to show this inversion. Disperse, dispense, the difference is literally that extension of the R to the N. Some relationship in geometric linguistics. But again, now we've paired dispersion, dispensing to energy and entropy directly in physics proper. Two new words for clear inverses, and again, linguistically consistent. The difference between energy and entropy linguistically, the P and the G, again, some sort of relationship, and then it's internal to the linguistic structure itself. Pleasure is joy. Generosity is joyful. Sensuality is joyous. Sensuality is joyosity. Generosity is joyosity. Does that joyosity sound like another word that we're about to derive, and it's going to be the natural opposite of generosity, which is the emotional complete form of energy? Pause the video and take a guess, because we're about to say it here in about 22 minutes, or 2 seconds, who knows. What is concentricality to concentrationality? Again, pointing out the logic linguistical structure. Concentric, intricate. Sensuality is constructionality. Construction, instruction. Instructionality is lessonality. Lessonality, essentiality. Again, highlighting how similar those linguistic structures are. Essentiality is essence. Essence is essential. Natural definition, I feel like we've hit that before. If not, again, when we're scaling this proof, we hit the same logical steps. And you add the fundamental basis, the stuff that's fixed, the stuff that doesn't change, the stuff that isn't differentiated, you literally have to derive the same exact, word for word, letter for letter, the same results. Sensuality sentiates. Sentiate, initiate. Sentiate, tension. So here is a fun one. This is a really fun one. And so in physics, again, because now that we've clearly demonstrated that people are people just describing the world around them, in physics we have this like what we're demonstrating with proofing is kind of answering the motivations, and a lot of times people haven't even articulated motivations. You go into math class, a professor just writes a theorem, it's like, we're going to prove this, we're going to try to calculate this angle, and you're just like, why? But that's like not even, again, that's the huge fraud part of all of academia, again, trying to stick to just the derivation here. But we have this thing, the center of mass, and now we've derived entirely what mass is. And so we can ask this question, what is the center of mass? The altar is the center of mass, right? So now we know historically religion and science aren't really fucking different in any meaningful sense. And conceptually, immediately it's true, right? If you have the center of mass, literally in your church, it's the altar. And so, but it's logical completion. The center of mass is altar, A-L-T-A-R. And now we iterate that. Well, first, alter, algorithm, altar. Like it's a linguistical, the A-L is the same as algo. What's that? Another gorka in Russian, gorka, luba, gorka. The G-O-R strikes me as, again, the same syllability. But altar, like the table, like what do you bring to the table? The altar, it's the center of mass. Directly, literally, but not the point. Alter, now we alter by iteration, and then we have alteration, A-L-T-E-R. And now we're again at the point where these words we've broken down, iteration is alteration, but it's direct by iteration. So it's like the self-contained functionality. Iteration is alteration, and that's a natural definition. Alter, falter. Right? The Fault in Our Stars, that's a movie people have seen that contains that logic a little bit. Speciality is infinite uniqueness. So now for our proof, we're back to, again, our emergent finalized definition, speciality, the natural tendency for sexual antagonism. But we've, again, reduced what natural definitions are as the association of letters, or more specifically, sound and letters to meaning. But we're generating and proving this axiom. What is censorship? What is sensuality? And so we're back to this, again, more logical definition, I guess, but infinite uniqueness is special. Speciality is infinitely unique. Uniqueness is newness, right? Sensuality is that new. Speciality is that old new, considering it's still a complete unification of all of the natural sciences. A complete demonstration of analysis. So that's that, it's still new, but it's that old new. And then sensuality is that new. But uniqueness is newness, sensuality is newness-ality. Sensuality is shrewdness. So now, back 2 minutes ago when I asked you to pause the video, and what is the opposite of generosity? Jellyosity, right? The opposite of generous is jealous. Jellyosity. Sensuality is jellyosity. Some final closing analytical theorem remarks. But inverse, reverse, right? Inverse to me on a personal level now is exclusively vertical. To iterate is some sort of verticality. Horizontality is reversal, right? If I am in my car and I'm going forward and I want to go backwards, do I inverse or do I reverse? Bam, another proof. Nice, put it on my tab. But again, we're getting to this reversal, inverse, opposition. Opposition's our limit, and we reduce that opposition to show this fundamental differentiation linguistically. Energy, entropy, what is switching is the internals of the letters themselves. And again, it's like 69 versus 96. Nice. And again, is versus as, right? That's another result we've come across recently. Basis as is as. When you do that, they'll be on your screen, but the A and the S, it's like hyperbolic concave away. It's like awayness or something. So concavity is another thing that's immediately relevant to the geometric linguistics. But we got most of the information in before the doggy barker went off. And so we're going to cut it there. That is what I have for you today, or for right now. My rights continue to be violated. The opposite of generosity is jellyosity. Nice. Sensuality is jellyosity. See you next time. Give me my rights. I don't expect to have rights. Give me my money. Let me live my life. I have never been able to buy food. I've never been able to eat properly, sleep properly, and work, as the dog Barky has reminded you. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.